Hello, POLSCI001. Going over the next chapter, chapter 10. Um, let's just get into it, so that because this is a little bit longer than the couple of previous slides. So, political participation. How do we participate in politics? Some of you may not think that you participate in politics, but you do. Probably the main way that people participate in politics is that they vote. We all go out and vote. Okay. There's one way that people can participate in politics. We have an election coming up. If you vote, then you are participating. You're engaged in civics. We have expanded the right to vote in this country. It used to be only landowning males could vote. So if you own land, then you were able to vote. Then all male citizens, then former slaves could vote. Then women got the right to vote. And then 18 and over during the Vietnam War. We drop it to 18 because if you can die for your country, then you should be able to vote for the politicians that send you off to war. And we'll go over these others when we go over different amendments. When I go over amendments, you'll probably want to remember these for test purposes. 14th Amendment, people are equally protected under the law. 14th Amendment is very important. It will be especially important for the final. We will go. You'll get an essay question about the 14th Amendment. But this is probably the main clause out of the 14th Amendment. You are all equally protected under the law. 15th Amendment. The right to vote cannot be denied because of race, color, previous condition, of servitude. So the 15th Amendment gives former male slaves the right to vote. So former male slaves now have the right to vote because of the 15th Amendment. Women are still missing from this. 17th Amendment. Direct election of senators. Before the 17th Amendment, senators were picked by state legislatures. If you remember that all the way back to Chapter 2. Senators were elected by state legislatures. Now, because of the 17th Amendment, senators are voted in by the people. 19th Amendment, the right to vote should not be denied because of gender. So you cannot deny somebody's right to vote because of gender anymore. So the 19th Amendment, which just turned 100 years old this year, women got the right to vote. And then the 24th Amendment eliminated poll taxes. You can no longer charge a fee to vote, which we'll get into that when we get to Chapter 18. And then 26th Amendment lowered the voting age to 18 because of the Vietnam War. And again, if you are old enough to die for your country, you should be old enough to vote for its leaders. All right, voter turnout is relatively low. So proportion of voting age public that participates in an election. In this country, we have low voter turnout. Relatively low, it's 50%. So 50% of the voting age population will go out and vote. So it is low. Other countries are looking at like 80, 90, 75%. We have 50%. So a lot of people don't go out and vote. Why don't people vote? We'll go over some of that. Voting behavior, it's a rational choice. Cost-benefit analysis. What do I get out of it? So this is why people would go and vote. What do I get out of voting? Maybe I get lower property taxes, or I want justice to be fixed. Maybe the rich should pay more taxes. You do a rational choice in what you're going to get out of this out of voting. Civic duty, non-cost benefit analysis. A person votes out of a sense of responsibility. It's my duty to vote, so I will go vote. It's not a cost benefit analysis. I'm given this right, so I'm going to exercise it. Political efficacy, my participation matters. One's decisions to vote really does make a difference. So I want to go vote because I do have power and my vote does count. Whereas why don't people vote? The system explanation, eligibilities. The Constitution sets forth appropriate age to vote. You have to be 18. You cannot be 16, 17 and vote. You have to be 18. Voter registration, you need to register with the state you reside to vote. So you have to go and register to vote. A lot of people don't like to register to vote because they feel that they're going to be put into jury polls. That used to be the case in California, not anymore. As long as you have a photo ID or a driver's license, you are in the pool for jury. So now registering, a lot of people don't want to do it because they just have to fill out forms. But most states, I think all states, require you to register to vote. Voter fatigue, the frequency of elections may drive voters away. Back in 2000s, in California, we probably had from 2000 to 2004, we had an election every year. So it was quite difficult, and people didn't want to go vote. They were just tired of it. And two-party system, tendency of voters to think their vote will not count. I will not go out and vote because what does my vote do? I'm one of millions of people who are voting. Why should I go vote? What do people look for when they vote? Well, education. Some people will hold education as value. They went to an Ivy League school versus just graduating high school. So who are you gonna pick? Some people will look at income and socioeconomic status. They're very rich. They know how to control money. So I will vote for that person. Religion. People will use religion as a factor. Some people did not want to vote for Kennedy because he was Catholic. Some people didn't want to vote for Mitt Romney in 2012 because he is Mormon. So religion can be held against you or for you, depending on if they're of that religion. Ethnic background. Some people will just look at the ethnicity of a person and vote on that criteria. Gender. A lot of people wanted to vote for Hillary because she was a woman. So it's time for a woman to be president. Age. Some people will hold age as a good criteria or bad criteria. People didn't want to vote for John McCain because he was too old back in 2008. Geographic region. If you come from a certain area, you tend to vote certain ways. If you're West Coast, that geographic region tends to vote liberal. If you're from the Midwest, that geographic region tends to vote conservative. Psychological factors. How do they look? They have great looking hair. That's what I look for when I go vote for somebody is their hair. If they have great hair, then they got my vote. Party identification. Some people don't look at names, they just look for the party ID and that's all they vote. So if they're Republican or Democrat, that's the only way they'll vote. Perception of the candidates. How do they look? People really hate Donald Trump, so they're just not going to vote for him because he says ugly things. So they can use that as perception of the candidates. Some people have this view that Joe Biden is not coherent now, so there's that perception. Oops. All right. Issue preferences. Some people will just look at one issue and that's the only way they vote. If they're pro-choice, that's the only thing I will look at. So some people will just look at issue preferences. Elections serve three main purposes in the United States. They select government officials. We pick the officials that will represent people in government. We inform government officials what we want. So when we go vote for somebody and we give them our vote, we're letting them know that we want them to pursue what we voted for them on. So healthcare in 2008, Obama wins. Healthcare gets passed because people wanted that. And holding government officials accountable. If they don't do what they promise, then we can't vote them out. So we put in people, they get things done, and then if they don't do it, we can vote them out. Primary elections, there's two types of elections that happen every year. There's the primaries, and then there is the general. Because I'm running out of time, I'm just going to go over these quickly. Really, a primary is narrowing down from one major candidate or narrowing down in the party from 20 candidates to one candidate that will represent the party. That's what a primary will do. I'll let you research the 4 different types of primaries in your notes. The big election that happens every fall in November is the general election. So you add the two parties, they pick who's going to represent them, and then they go run off against each other in the general. So it's a runoff election where the two nominees for a party face off in the November election. That's what we're having in November. Is we have President Trump on one side and Vice President Obama on the other. Presidential elections happen every 4 years. There's a primary between the two parties, and the top two nominees will face off in the fall, which we just talked about. The total college will determine who the winner is. So in December, when you go vote again, you're voting for electors, and in December they'll go vote for president. Then we have House of Representatives elections. All 435 members are up for re-election every 2 years. So this year there's a congressional election. In 2022 there'll be a congressional election again. Winner only needs a plurality or most votes. Whoever gets the most votes wins. Midterm elections happen when there is no presidential election. So this is known as the midterm. So in 2022 we have a midterm. The last midterm was 2018. So when the president doesn't run for, when there's no presidential election, that's known as a midterm election. Gerrymandering, drawing congressional lines so that one party has an advantage in a congressional district. They would draw lines, thin line between two cities that would then balloon. And why is there that little line? So that one party would have an advantage over the other in voting. And then reapportionment. Every 10 years we have a census. They count the population. And then what happens is they reapportion the number of representatives you have. So the states gain-lose population every 10 years. So what happens is we count the population. Okay, this state has lost seats. This state gains seats. So reapportionment means we change the number. They'll always stay 435, but some states will gain and lose seats in House of Representatives because they have gained population or lost population. That's what reapportionment is. The campaigns, they focus on the message. So we have President Trump's message, Make America Great Again, and then President Biden's Build Back Better. So they put out their message. Money is important. The last 3 presidential elections were over $1 billion were spent to run for president. So money is needed. You need to get out and get that message. You're flying everywhere. You need to pay for those things. And the machine will get out the vote. They will call people up, get people to the polls, and go vote for you. So the machine works. You should see the machine in action right now. They're calling you up, asking you how you're voting, what you're going to do. Do you need a lift to go vote? That's what the machine does. And then the media plays their role. They can make officials look really good or really bad. They can prop you up and not ask questions, or they may ask you very hard questions if they like you or don't like you. Social media has become even more prevalent today. We're able to get our news more instantly and fast, and we don't have to go to normal news outlets. And social media is now taking over. And digital campaigns. If you notice when you go on the computer, you see a lot more campaigns or a lot more advertising digitally. I go on YouTube. As you can see, you're on YouTube. There might be a campaign ad on there. So I see more campaign ads on digital platforms now than I used to on TV. And then fact checking, trying to prove that the other side is lying and taking them down. Other ways you can engage in politics. So there's other ways than just voting. So what else can you do to engage in politics? You can contact a government official. If you have a problem with government, you contact your government official, you are engaging in politics. So if you need something from your government official, you need help with something in the government, maybe you didn't get a check that you were supposed to from the IRS, you go to your government official, you are engaging in politics. Attend a government meeting, go to a school board meeting, you are engaging in politics. School boards are government. They oversee the school. And you have a say in that. So if you attend that meeting, you're engaging in politics. And then contact a non-governmental organization. Red Cross, and donate. You're engaging in politics. So any of these things you do, you engage in politics as well. All right, that is it for Chapter 10. Again, if you have any questions, please come to my office hours. I'll be more than happy to help you. We're almost getting to the end of the 3rd section. We're going to have Test 3 pretty soon. After Chapter 11, we'll have the study guide up. We'll have the video up for you guys to study and get ready for the 3rd test. All right, I hope you guys have a good day. We'll see you later. Bye.